Phill Brown came to me. I've been working a lot with Phill in the last couple of years, and also I'd been touring with projects like the Nick Drake Way to Blue tour, which was pioneered by Joe Boyd, and I'd done a lot of folk music on stage, including the Feed Bright Phoebus tour last year. And working with Phill in the last couple of years, his method of miking the drums was the period of the 70s onwards, really, which I think the theme of the DrumDrops loops, textures was about that period. So it seemed, well, Phill asked me to come in and recreate and listen to some early 70s folk rhythms, folk rock. So we went from there, really. So the connection was Phill Brown, and that I'd done music by Nick Drake and various other folk artists. So I had an insight of what to do, really, and what to use.
Known of this studio for years. It was built in the 80s by Jerry Boys, who was involved with the Bonavista Vista Social Club. And I've always liked it. I mean, you've got two large rooms, both very different. One's a very deadish room, one's very live because of the mirrors and tiles. You've got a couple of booths. It's a great place for recording bands because you have isolation, but you've also got great visual contact. Over the years, the desks have changed slightly, but they've always been SSL. I think when this was set up in the 80s, it probably cost £1 million to build. Probably £500,000 worth of gear and £500,000 to actually sort the room. But I just like it here. I think it's got great sounding rooms.
In the live room, the drums here, they sound liver or live than in the other room where it's dead, more close spiking, close sound, very vintage sound. Here, this is my Gretsch kit, which I've had for the last 30 odd years. And here we've kind of gone for sort of more modern folk rock textures. The kit's quite live sounding, but it does have quite a melodic sound, so it doesn't go too much. This was kind of perfect for the kind of modern textures, using the folk rock theme from the 70s coming into the modern live period, where Fleet Foxes and Goldfrapp, we needed a little bit more of a live sound.
Right, this is Martyn's own kit, set up in a fairly live room which has mirrors and tiles, so it is very much that kind of Phil Collins type of room. And we're using close mics on that, so I'm still using the Sony, but this time it's used as a room mic in front of the drums. We're using a couple of these ribbon Coles as overheads. Tom's Sennheiser 421s, nothing really special, but they're great dynamic mics. Bass drum again, D12, Shure on the Shure 57 for the snare. So there's similar similarities, but they're all close mic'd. So I wanted the toms. We got 4 Sennheisers. I wanted the toms to all have the same mics. And the Sony I love. It was bought originally. I bought it as a vocal mic, but it's fantastic on drums.
Yeah, the sticks I was using here, basically the normal stick, which straight for normal kind of live folk rock rhythms, shuffles, side sticks, rim shots. And to get a variation of the sounds, we sort of use the hot rod, which is a great stick to kind of go between brushes and sticks. So it's not too sharp, too hard, and not too soft, but still has a nice feel of a stick, but kind of playing on the snare would make it a bit fatter sounding, which is very good to have, because the folk rock sound has a very sort of nice fat loose sounding snare drum, which with the hot rods is really good to get. And then of course the wire brushes, which goes for the soft, and I'd be doing some tom round the tom hits with it, rhythms, kind of get the melody from the toms to kind of harmonics and resonate the toms a bit more without hitting them really hard to deaden the harmonics. But again, brush sweeps, so 3 different types really, dynamics, the brush and the hot rods and the sticks.
For the live kit, it's straight into the SSL, and from the SSL we're going to a 16-track tape machine, and then that's fed back into Pro Tools. So we're getting kind of the modern element of an SSL, but with the warmth from a 16-track 2-inch, and then obviously into the modern format to be able to sample and edit and do all of that in Pro Tools. So I'm not, again, I had not a lot of things in the chain. I've tried to record them as naturally and as real as possible.
Yes, we've got 2 Ludwig snares that were used on this kit in this room. This is quite an old snare drum which came with the vintage Ludwig kit which we used on the dead 70s sound. And we used this as a kind of, this sounded very fat and loose here, but still it was nice to hear it in a live situation. And this snare, which is my personal Ludwig snare, which is a sort of brass shell snare with a vintage skin on it, so it would soften, it wouldn't be so sharp and spiky sounding, it would be kind of a lot more softer in its sound. And this snare's tighter sounding than this one. This is a lot more loose. So there's a great difference between these 2, but still we're using the live room, so we're still having that live sound, but 2 different variations of snare drum. So tighter sounding and looser sounding.